So we've kind of talked about the schooling system and kindergarten through 12, and I definitely have a soapbox, and I don't feel like we teach some of those life things applicable to real life with the savings accounts and the interest rates and all that. I actually use Monopoly as a teaching tool for my kids. I love to play. It's my favorite thing to do. One of my favorite things to do with my kids is play Monopoly with them, because I think it's a good learning tool. It really, really is.
You think that's better over the game of life?
Yeah. My dad just did splat boxing.
There's a little bit of that too.
Yeah, there was some of that.
Yeah, it is. Because it's not all perfect or anything, but
Sure.
it opens, I think more than anything, it opens that conversation with them.
Maybe there should be a new game of life where you have I got divorced and I have a child support and like what it is like in real
alimony.
life.
What the fuck?
Another one that we played was Risk.
Oh, Risk, classic, all-time classic. Yeah, so I like strategy games, right? So that's what I was good at. I like to use my brain. I like to solve problems. I like to solve puzzles. So, those are kind of the things that I would gravitate towards. I didn't like the push the button as fast as you can kind of games, right?
No,
a lot of the shooting and fighting and stuff like that, that wasn't my thing because I didn't think there was kind of like, I say I don't have a very good strategy for the game of bingo. My strategy sucks for it. I'm not very good at it, right? Because there is no strategy besides having more cards.
Yep. I tell you what I did do, though, is I put my gun right on the screen with Duck Hunt, and I would cheat all day. I would get to the very last level because I'm like 2 inches away from that screen with Duck Hunt.
Did you know that Controller 2 on Duck Hunt controlled the ducks?
What?
Yeah. Did you know this?
No.
What are you talking about?
I look it up. I'm telling you.
Controller 2?
People at home, use your Google Webs. Look up Duck Hunt Controller 2, and you will find out that the second controller.
This was like a secret, I guess, when we actually played the game.
I don't recall ever doing it. Do you?
No.
But
that's the first I've ever heard of it.
I guess if you play two-player, like the other guy can be like, I want the ducks to go
well,
this
like
way or
once
that
you get
way.
to like level like 97, 98, then those ducks are going fucking fast.
Yeah.
So the guy with Controller 2 would just make him go up to the top corner so you could shoot it and beat the game.
I got one. Excite Bike.
How about Mario Kart bringing back the Excite Bike track in like 3D?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Excite Bike was the first game that I really remember where you could customize your track. You could make your own track. So you'd make power up or whatever where you really go fast, and then you'd hit the ramp and then go up on the other next level thing. But that was a lot of fun of it because you could customize it.
Yeah. One of the few games ever, I think.
Especially during that time.
Yeah.
Another kind of along the same lines is maybe Tecmo Bowl 3, where you could start making your own players. You could give them the stats that you want. You could give them the names and everything. And
well, speaking of Tecmo Super Bowl, one of the greatest games
one
ever.
of the best. Remember, I mean, like we had to make rules that nobody could be the Raiders and on Tecmo Bowl because Bo Jackson was
Howie
just,
Long and Bo
Yeah,
Jackson.
but that was the
was
first Tecmo Bowl.
Yes.
I remember one of the things I remember most about video games in our life, the baseball simulator seasons that we
Yes.
would do in a night, right?
Yes. That was a lot of fun.
I remember, I don't know if it was the last one, but one of them, I won it with the stop ball that didn't stop.
Yes.
You remember that?
The stop ball that didn't. Oh man, that was a brutal pitch too.
Yeah.
Oh, the best was the guy in outfield where you could hit the button, the rocket thing.
Yeah. Baseball Simulator is like probably one of my top 5 favorite baseball games, at least sports. I mean, probably sports games in general ever. I love that game. It's just, and it wasn't just because like it wasn't the graphics. It wasn't, little cheats they had on the game was pretty cool. But it was the fact that we would stay up all night and all day playing that game.
Yeah, and it was kind of the novelty. The other ones took baseball a little bit more serious, but then, you could fly a rocket and do all these hit 5, pitcher could throw 5 balls. And
How about teaming up and being on the same team on Blades of Steel?
Wasn't fair.
Man, it was just so much fun. Like just the one-timers out the wazoo. Like, you got it? I got it. Where?
Actually, that's another one of my favorite games of all time, NHL 94.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
NBA
I played the
Live
hell out of that
95.
game.
I love hockey games.
Oh,
hockey
man.
games are underrated.
And I was Pittsburgh. That was one of my teams back then, and I would just score. I'd win 10-1.
I always felt like hockey games were so underrated. They were so much fun to play, especially 2 players. You could be on the same team and feed and dish each other. One time, me and my buddy John, one Labor Day weekend, we did the whole 500 of the Daytona 500 on NASCAR. Where you could like draft and stuff. It was fun. And I don't know what year it was, but it was fun, man.
Did it take you like 6 hours?
It took a long time. It really did.
We had a career mode on NBA Live 95, and it was like the first game where you could have like practice and shoot arounds and stuff on your off days. I came in from school, I think, and Matt Brandon was playing the game, but he was in the practice gym, and our guy was just running laps around the gym. And Matt was like, he went like 1 for 12 from the field last game, so fuck this guy. So he was actually legit punishing the guy during practice. It was awesome.
And I always did try to take, especially when the games evolved and they got better, I tried to take the game serious. You know, you could always, on Madden, you could always find those tricks where you could just score all the time or whatever.
That wasn't fun.
No, or put it on easy and just score 1,000,000 to 0.
Right.
I never liked that. I really wanted the challenge. I would play, you know, on Madden, I would play like a defensive lineman and actually just stick with him instead of changing all my guys and trying to make the tackle, or like a linebacker and just stick with him.
Yeah.
And I liked it to be competitive. Like if you win 70-0 all the time, it's not any fun. I don't think. I wanted to come down to that. What I decided to do on 4th down, or kicking that field goal to win the game, or whatever.
But I would guess that there's guys out there that do like the 70-0. I was just not one of them. I wanted real.
I wanted to be good at it, but I didn't want it to be a blowout.
I don't say that losing, you know, it is a great teacher, but man, I don't like it. I'm just not a big fan. They say the score doesn't matter, but we paid $25,000 for that scoreboard. I think the score freaking matters. You know,
bringing it back to the backyard wiffle ball, that was important. That's you know, I still feel like I have a pretty competitive bone in my body to this day, and I'm sure that that's where a lot of it came from. I didn't like losing. I didn't handle it well. I'm not a good loser.
There's only one way to get good at it, and that's to do it a lot. And I don't ever want to get good at losing.
Even in the backyard or wherever it was, we wouldn't take it easy on each other either. You know, you're going to get my best, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's if it's my sister, you're going to get my best, whatever it is we're doing. And it can be something important and something, or something silly, something little. I want to win.
I would always tell Haley, I'm not going to take it easy on you just because you're a girl.
No.
And on that same kind of realm is my middle child's very determined. I've talked about that before, and I see a lot of myself in her. Now she can also get in trouble every once in a while, and I see a little bit of that in her too. But I do see that competitive element that knowingly or willingly, I guess they get it from me. My wife is also competitive. She was a good sports
hell of
athlete.
A tennis player.
She was a good athlete in school, and she's very disciplined and gets after it too. So it's kind of cool to see when your kids kind of take over some of the good parts of you. And we've actually talked about that on another podcast called Girl Dad. You should check it out sometime and share it and like it and all that type of stuff. But seeing those good elements of you in your kids is kind of cool. We talked about wrestling earlier. Wrestling. I think that was actually the name of it on Nintendo. Remember
Pro Wrestling.
Starman?
It was
Pro Wrestling.
Pro
Yes.
Wrestling. Starman.
Starman and all those guys. But I also remember the other game where they were able to get the licensing and have all those WWF guys at the time, right? Where it was Hulk and Macho. No, I don't think Hulk was on there.
I remember Andre the Giant could kick like up to his waist, and I was like, "This game ain't realistic."
I didn't get into the WWF one, but I did the Pro
Wrestling, Starman, yeah.
Here's what I love about the WWE games today. Okay, they have all these legends. You know, like I mean, you want to be the Junkyard Dog? We got the Junkyard Dog and Macho Man Randy Savage and all these guys. And Andre the Giant is one of the guys I love to play and wrestle with. Well, you can edit these guys and give them any finishing move that there is, right? Well, there's a guy who weighs about 180 pounds. His name is Finn Balor. His finishing move is called the coup de grace, where he climbs the top rope and does a double foot chest stomp onto the guys, okay? And now that Andre the Giant does that. And it's not so much a finishing move as a fatality.
Speaking of wrestling, I just watched on Prime an Iron Sheik little documentary.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy, is that guy a fucking whack job, huh?
Yeah, but he was the real deal.
Yes.
He's an actual wrestler, Greco-Roman wrestler.
Yes, he was a badass.
He was offered money to break Hulk Hogan's legs in their championship match and didn't do it because he was a professional, but he wanted to. He sure did. It was because of the Iron Sheik that like the line between it being real and fake got blurred. he was caught
Yep.
he was riding in a car with Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Who they
and
were supposed to wrestle that night.
Yeah, and they were caught. They had cocaine in the car and stuff like that.
And everybody's like, "Oh no!" Now we don't. The illusion is real.
Right. Everybody knows it's fake now.
And your wrestling fandom, I think, continued on after. But my favorite wrestler as a kid was Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, yeah.
I loved Ultimate Warrior. I think everybody liked the Hulk. That was the guy. But Ultimate Warrior was my favorite wrestler as a kid.
Mine was the Macho Man Randy Savage. I love the guy that could be a good guy and a bad guy. That the next generation. That's why I like Chris Jericho. He could do the same things. He could. Here's a microphone. Go piss off 20,000 people. And he's like, can do, will do. The night that he debuted in WWE, the music hits, his fucking name comes flashing across the screen. It says Jericho. The crowd goes nuts. And less than 2 minutes later, they're booing him out of the stadium. Like, they hate him. Yeah. And that takes a lot of talent to make everyone hate you like that. My brother Dick, he always wanted to be a pro wrestler. It was one of his dreams. His entrance music was going to be Have a Cigar from Pink Floyd.
Nice.
And his name was going to be Big Dick Little, which I thought was fucking brilliant as a wrestling name. One of these days, maybe as part of this podcast, I'm going to get into the wrestling game. I'm not big enough to do the stuff, but I could be Mr. Fuji or Bobby the Brain Heenan. I could piss everybody off. Here's a microphone. Go make everybody mad. I was going to do that anyway.
I remember watching live when the screen went away when Owen Hart fell. I was actually at Twan's house when we watched it live.
Yeah, I was at Raw the next night.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because the pay-per-view was in Kansas City and the Raw the next night was in St. Louis. Yeah, that was crazy. That was just, what can you say about that? As he was falling, there was a referee standing there next to that corner that he hit, and as he was falling, his last was get out of the way. He didn't want to hurt the other guy.
Is that true? Or?
I swear to God, man.
Yeah, that's it. You've been talking a lot, and we'll catch you next time.
We have diversified our portfolio. We couldn't contain all this content under Chris Sabo's goggled umbrella. Join us from the barn for new content such as Girl Dad, Vulgar Display of Podcasts, Wax World, and coming soon, a brand new podcast from the original three from the Chris Sabo Power Hour. They discuss mass murder, serial killers, assassinations, and our fascination surrounding it. Join Chad, Chuck, and Dwayne and get skinned and get skinned and get skinned and get skinned.